Hi, I've been watching a lot of retired and broke videos lately. Have any of y'all been watching those? And there's a few of them that something just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem to sit right with me. Um, and some people, hey, are truly in financial trouble. I mean, there's no bones about that. But broke means something different for everyone, of course. If you've been watching those too, you've probably noticed it. And stay with me until the end because I want to share something that might completely change how you feel about retirement, especially for the next decade. But let's start with compassion. Some people really are in financial strain. Rents are high in many places. Home costs are high. Insurance has jumped in some areas. Groceries cost more. Medical costs are real. We all know that. And only about 4 in 10 Americans are projected to be able to maintain their lifestyle in retirement. More than half of Americans worry they won't have enough. Nearly 1 in 4 people over 50 who are not retired say they may never retire at all. And tens of millions of Americans have little to no retirement savings. So yes, for some people this is not a trend. It's real life happening right now. Some people aren't watching retired and broke videos for entertainment. They're watching because they're trying to figure out how others are surviving. And that deserves respect. But broke isn't just one thing. Here's where it gets layered. Broke isn't always a number. For some people, broke means zero savings. For others, it means no margin. For others, it means anxiety. For others, it means exhaustion. Median retirement savings for people nearing retirement age is around $185,000 to $200,000. That's far below the million plus many advisors suggest is needed for a fully comfortable retirement. Of course, a lot of people say too that you don't need that $1 million, so that's debatable. But about 87% of Americans over 65 receive Social Security right now. And nearly 39% rely totally on it for all of their income. And retiring at 62 instead of full retirement age can reduce benefits by up to 30%. And so when someone says they're retired and broke, it could mean they retired early. There's a lot of those out there. People in their 40s, even 30. Today we even have people in their 20s that are millionaires from YouTube or whatever. But so when someone says they're retired and broke, it could mean they retired early, they just burn out, they miscalculated, they had health issues, they supported family longer than expected, or they're living primarily on just Social Security. And it's not one story. So burned out versus broke. There's another layer. Some people don't retire because the numbers are perfect. They retire because they were worn down. Henry David Thoreau once said, "The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it." I'll say that again. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Some people aren't retiring because they ran out of money. They're retiring because they ran out of life to exchange. That's not irresponsibility, that's depletion. So now here's something I think most people haven't fully connected. Retirement doesn't just depend on how much you saved. It depends on when your household actually stopped expanding. If you had children. So I've noticed more adult children living at home well into their 20s and 30s and without jobs. Sometimes out of necessity, sometimes out of comfort. And that absolutely affects retirement planning. When retirement math assumes independence for the kids at 18 or 22, when they graduate high school and or college, but reality stretches that to 30 or beyond, the numbers change. But here's the deeper part. Independence used to be assumed. at least in my generation. At 18, 22, after college, they're expected to launch. But now it's negotiated most of the times, or a lot of times. Negotiated between parents and adult children. Negotiated around housing costs. Negotiated around student debt. Negotiated around culture and comfort. And negotiated around safety and opportunity. And when independence becomes negotiated, retirement becomes negotiated too. That shifts the math, because retirement isn't just about what you saved. It's about when the financial responsibility actually lightened up. And, to become an empty nester and start really saving your money as parents, if the kids have launched. I had a sister like that, and she did have one son. Just stay with her. I mean, even in his 50s, he was still with her. And there was nothing wrong with him, but he just didn't want to leave. So, but it's about when the financial responsibility actually lightened, and that changes more than people realize. Like, for instance, with her, she was 76, and, he just wouldn't leave home. And then it got to where she liked having him around. I mean, she'd been divorced for a long time. And, but no, she just didn't retire till she was, well, she wasn't even going to get to retire because she had a new car payment. She was 76, I think, 75. Still had 5 more years on her new car payment. And she's out of work because she's supporting him too in his 50s. But anyway, that changes more than people realize. So, finally, I was able to help her and get her out and get her retired. And then 1 year later, she only lived 1 more year in retirement. She got 1 year of retirement, and and she passed away from the C word, what we had in 2020. I don't want to say it on YouTube. So the generational lens. Baby boomers were raised with a fairly clear retirement picture. Work steadily, pay into Social Security, maybe have a pension. Not everybody gets a pension, just some companies offer them. Downsize, slow down. So that was the pattern. Work steady, pay into Social Security, maybe have a pension, maybe a 401k. Downsize, then slow down. But Gen X entered adulthood as pensions began disappearing. Retirement shifted from guaranteed income to self-managed accounts. Risk moved from companies to individuals. Millennials grew up watching housing costs surge, student debt expand, and gig work normalize. Many never expected the old retirement model at all. So when we watch Retired and Broke stories, we're not just watching personal financial decisions. We're watching generational expectations colliding with economic reality. Because we've got the boomers, the Gen Xers, millennials. So, Social Security is the base, not the solution. For many retirees, Social Security is a foundation, not a full solution. It replaces only a portion of pre-retirement income. And for some, it's the majority of what they live on. So retirement today isn't just about how much you saved. It's about how much structure you can still rely on. And that structure has just shifted. So we're redesigning retirement. Now look around. People are moving into tiny homes. They're living in vans, buying RVs, living in those. They're sharing houses, growing gardens together, or they're working part-time, even out of their vans and RVs and their cars they're living in. They're consulting part-time. One man I watched, he was delivering prescriptions like just 2 hours, I think, only 2 days a week. It helped his income. And then he was also, just from his talents, he was helping others just when he felt like it, if and when he felt like it, just to make the extra money, just to have the freedom. with the money that he already had coming in, I guess from Social Security. But actually, I think he even retired before Social Security. I think he was in his 40s, and he was done with the rat race, he said, and he just got out of it. Teaching online, I think he was doing that. Some people do that. And building digital income, digital products. I don't have any yet, so I don't have any to sell yet. I think I have a buy me a coffee on there if anybody wants to help, but no obligation on that. So, but some are doing it because they have to. And some are doing it because they want to. And, some aren't able to do it, maybe because of health problems. So, but even with the tiny homes, they're not always cheaper. And RV life isn't always glamorous, we know that. Shared housing isn't always easy, but they represent something. They represent people trying to take control of their cost structure. They represent retirement redesign. Now, here's something about the next decade without any hype, okay? And that most people don't even talk enough about. So we may be entering one of the most opportunity-rich decades in modern history. And there's reports on it everywhere. And not because it's easy, not because everyone will get rich, but because the tools are different today. AI lowers barriers. Remote platforms create reach. You can build something from your home. You can experiment without massive capital. You can actually start with just your iPhone if you have it, just like I do, my iPhone. That's all I have. It's my iPhone. Well, and I have my laptop. So, and you can experiment without massive capital. So, if you're able to. So, unless you have health problems. But, I have some health problems. I still do it. I also have 2 faceless channels that I started, and I work on those also. But after I retired, I started those 2 faceless YouTube channels, mostly stay creative, however I could. And actually one small video unexpectedly just went viral, and it still gets steady views every hour, even today. I made that early in 2025, and this is February 2026, and it's getting at least 50 to 200 views per hour on the hour ever since I posted it. So one video just go viral, but I sure didn't expect it. So, but I didn't plan it. I didn't have a team. I just started, and so there's some good faceless software you can get. Some you can use for free, and I guess for so many videos a week or something. But I did have a paid plan myself, so I did do that. But not everybody could afford that. And there's YouTubers that teach it. So, but that doesn't mean everyone should do YouTube. It does mean the door isn't closed, and actually YouTube's going to be growing phenomenally over the next several years. So. And they say it's still not too late to get in if you want. But retirement doesn't have to mean stopping. So if you're able to. It can mean choosing differently. Opportunity exists. Uncertainty still exists too. We may be entering one of the most opportunity-rich decades, and one of the most emotionally uncertain ones also. So maybe the real question isn't, am I broke? Maybe the question is, what structure did I expect retirement? Sorry, I've got a little itch. What structure did I expect retirement to have? And does that structure still exist? I'll say that one again. What structure did I expect retirement to have? And does that structure still exist? Some people are in real financial trouble. Some people are just freaking burnout. Some people are redefining work. Some people are redesigning housing. Vans, cars, RVs, tiny homes, whatever. Living with others. Yes. They're redesigning their housing for a cheaper lifestyle. Maybe we're not watching failure. Maybe we're watching transition. And Bob Dylan once said, he made a bargain long ago. Yeah, this is great. He was interviewed on, I think it was CNN years ago, and about how he, I don't know, he'd won all these awards and Nobel Peace Prize and blah, blah, blah. And he was asked, well, what do you give credit to on this and for all this, everything he's gotten, you know, success in his life? And he just said, and this got to me early in my life, and I did the same thing. And I don't really mean to bring spirituality into this, but I heard it when I was about 25, I think, and I did the same thing as he said he did, and just, you know, with the higher power. But he said in his answer about what he attributes all of his success to, he said he made a bargain long ago with a chief not of this world. And he says, I'd like to think I'm holding up my end. And that just made me think, I'm like, wow, you know, the Lord does say, charity the neighbor, love the Lord, charity the neighbor. And he'll pour out, you know, blessings from heaven and all that. And I made a bargain, I made a covenant then, back then. And that's something I can talk about later. But yeah, he did it. But anyway, maybe retirement is when we revisit our own bargain. What were we willing to exchange our time for? What are we no longer willing to trade? The real question might not just be, do I have enough money? It might be, what does retirement mean now? If this made you think, then I'll just ask you to click the like button, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. And I don't believe retirement is the end of work. I believe it's the beginning of choice. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, for some people, just physically, you just can't work or you know, you're just totally burnt out, especially working the 8 to 5. And, yeah, so some people have done that. I didn't have to do that necessarily. I had 2 sales careers and 2 companies, and I you know, I didn't have to go in every day if I didn't want to, but no, I had a lot of stress. Yes, I did, and so I didn't do that. But that's for another video. I believe it's the beginning of choice, though. And for now, I guess I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.